front porch filled with drones, their feet propped on the railing, their voices continually murmuring. The small lobby was always packed with busy figurers. A line of them formed at the hotel's only telephone. My daily visits improved my vocabulary of picturesque profanity, as well as the exotic language of the oil fields. The increase in special delivery letters was making me incredibly rich, sometimes as much as 60 cents a day, and my mother was so busy with the inundation of mail pouring into the Stevens post office that she did not realize that I had become the foremost consumer of licorice sticks, jawbreakers, and ice cream cones in town. The post office department had authorized the employment of an assistant postmaster, a Mr. Marlar, and one of his duties was to keep the special delivery record sheets and hand me the letters to deliver each morning and evening. My enormous income, therefore, was known only to him and me, and he evidently did not give it much thought until several weeks later, as we shall see. Somewhere along at the height of the boom, the Stevens oil field began to attract its share of fast promoters and flim-flam artists. The most romantic of these people was a pair of oil stock peddlers named Jimmy Cox and Doc Ladd. With their flair for the dramatic, Cox and Ladd disdained to come to Stevens by way of the Cotton Belt Railroad. They arrived by airplane, a World War I Curtiss Jenny, landing in a cow pasture southwest of town. We had seen only one airplane before this. Its passage from Pine Bluff to Texarkana was announced in the Stevens News, and the entire town turned out to gaze upward at the plane's silhouette high in the sky as it kept its course by following the track of the railroad. The noisy chattering of its motor was impressive, but its remoteness was disappointing. It faded away, no larger than a hawk against the horizon. And so when we learned that an airplane was actually going to land at Stevens, the excitement was intense, especially among the young who had heard and read so much about the heroic aviators of World War I. In the early 20s, that war was quite fresh in our memories. We knew all about von Richthofen, the Red Baron, George Guynemer, the French ace, the Lafayette Escadrille, and our own Eddie Rickenbacker. And the rumors around town were that the men coming in on the Curtiss Jenny were not only important oil men, they were also heroes of the skies who had fought Kaiser Bill and the Huns to make the world safe for democracy. As I recall, Cox and Ladd's Curtiss Jenny arrived a bit earlier than expected, but we'd been waiting for hours in the pasture for that wonderful event, which happened so fast that the plane was down, rolling and bumping across the uneven surface of the pasture almost before we heard or saw it. On the ground it resembled a fragile insect made of spruce, linen, and wire, leaping swiftly toward a ditch where its nose tipped forward, its tail pointing skyward like a snake doctor on a lily pad. As the crowd of boys swarmed toward the plane, a spray of broken wood from a splintered propeller miraculously missed all of us. Half a dozen boys, including me, managed to retrieve some of the pieces as we ran. My souvenir of the broken propeller was a splinter of polished mahogany the size of a hammer handle. We could see the leather-helmeted skulls of the plane's two occupants. A slim young man crawled out first. He pushed his goggles back on his forehead. He wore a yellow silk scarf around his neck. His tight-waisted leather jacket reached below his knees, almost concealing his neatly pressed officer's trousers. Behind him was a stocky, heavy-set man who was turning to lift a fat bulldog from the cockpit. The heavy-set man wore pants which flared at the hips and tightened at the knees. His lower legs were encased in leather military puttees. The slim man walked around to inspect the broken propeller. He uttered a few swear words and said they would have to send a telegram to San Antonio for a replacement. The stocky man was grumbling about a jammed elevator wire, which he hoped they could repair themselves. By this time, several important citizens of Steve.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.